So we've reached our final session of the day. We're closing out with a look at how DBS, Southeast Asia's largest and most profitable bank, is betting big on AI. Building systems that are fast and fair while staying ahead in one of the world's most competitive markets is a seemingly never-ending challenge. Making AI work at this scale requires more than just tech, requires leadership, trust, and a clear vision for the future. Please join me in welcoming a leader at the forefront of that shift in finance, DBS Group CEO Tan Su Shan. She'll be speaking with Fortune's Clay Chandler. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Andrew. Su Shan, please.
Thank you.
I cannot tell you what a pleasure it is to have you here with us this afternoon. Su Shan returns from last year, when she also spoke at Brainstorm AI. She has since been given a new role and responsibility. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The CEO of Singapore's biggest bank, the most profitable company on our global Southeast Asia 500 list for the second year in a row. And I would say also that Su Shan, we just put out our global most powerful women list. Su Shan was number 6.
Wow.
The only woman from Singapore to make the top 10. So congratulations on that front
so much.
As well. We were very excited to have Su Shan join us here today because DBS is well known for being so actively engaged in thinking through analytics, the digital revolution, and especially more recently, how to use artificial intelligence in the operations of the bank. They're thinking through every angle of this new technology and what it means. They are thinking about what it means for customers, how they can serve customers better. They're also thinking about how they can use it internally at the bank. And very exciting, right on the kind of cutting edge here in Singapore in leveraging these new technologies. Now, Su Shan, I want to ask you about how much of your time thinking about AI is consuming, but maybe you could start by telling you the kind of, your board kind of gave you notice that you were going to have to focus on AI when you came into the job. Explain
the day my CEO role was announced, I'm in a WhatsApp group with my board. I get the WhatsApp saying, even the CEO's job will be replaced or can be replaced by AI. So therefore, it's the tone from the top, right? So I'm like, okay, if I can be replaced by an AI, so can everything else. Agree? And that's why my New Year message to my team was my 4 Rs. We've got to reinvent ourselves. We've got to really stay relevant. We've got to be resilient because it's going to be volatile and turbulent, right? And we have to be responsible, right? So that's my 4 Rs. And I think the 4 Rs still stay highly relevant today and probably in time to come. And I tell my managers, don't hire for knowledge because knowledge is ubiquitous, knowledge has been democratized. Hire for attitude. Because you want to hire people who are agile, who are humble, who are able to say, whatever I knew up to today is no longer relevant today or tomorrow. Therefore, I have to not be afraid to let go, take a step back, relearn some new skills to go forward.
Are people receptive to that, or does it invoke a lot of,
So, when we first rolled out the generative AI experiments, and we have both horizontal and vertical use cases.
Right.
You know what was interesting? The most junior people were using it, fair enough, because you get a lot more to learn if you're an entry-level staff. And the most senior people were using it because they knew that, in a way it was us trying to download their brains into the system. So they were testing it and they were using it as well. It was the middle that was the least engaged. But I think it's that middle that is most at risk if you don't engage.
Right.
So today now the trend has turned because I think the most junior and the most senior people have made it safe for everyone in the middle to also start using it. So, and we use it for so many different things. We've got a horizontal DBS GPT where you can use it for ask me anything, to vertical use cases where we come up with agents that are very specific. It can be for low-level transactions. It could be for higher level, higher order reasoning, making of pitch books, writing credit memos, to answering ESG questions, as for example, or Wealth Copilot, to the horizontal, inch deep, mile wide, where we can say, ask me anything. It could be a branch manager saying, how do I get this KYC form filled? To who do I call for, helping with an industry query? To translate this email for me, please. My English or Chinese isn't that good. To whatever.
So, compliance, filling out forms, writing emails, that makes perfect sense. I think that's something all of us are using this new technology for. But what's amazing to me is that you're looking for ways to use the technology, even at some of the most high-level and sophisticated transactions that the bank is involved with. I mean, can you give us some examples of kind of significant transactions where AI has come in useful?
I think it's, to me, it's deterministic and probabilistic.
Yeah.
For stuff that's probabilistic, where you have to somewhat predict the future, I think it's going to be tough.
Right.
So, for example, if you ask an AI, tell me where the dollar-yen is going. And we started AI for wealth management in 2014 with IBM Watson. And we realized there was time, and then there was also recency, latency, and what is your horizon, what's your risk profile, etc. And an answer may not be the right answer for the right person. But if it's deterministic, like what is the best card for air miles? Or how do I optimize my again, optimizing a balance sheet may not be deterministic, but at least you can come up with option 1, 2, and 3 for the customer to choose. Or, what's the best mortgage in the market today for Sing dollars if I want a floating package or a fixed rate package, etc. And frankly, service calls, right? Today, a lot of our service calls can be managed by a generative AI bot.
Right.
For SME, we rolled it out first to 10,000 people, then to 50,000, then to 100,000 SMEs. And the fact is, once it works, I think once it crosses 95% accuracy, we're good to go. And if it makes a mistake, we will say, call a human now. Right? So you must always have a human in the loop just to make sure that it doesn't hallucinate. Right. But we also test the LLMs one against the other so that we can also play them off each other.
That's really important because, as anyone who views these platforms knows, they can be very sycophantic. They can say, oh, that's a brilliant question. It was so smart of you to ask that. And when you kind of give them prompts, they can lavish praise on your prompts. And with a bad prompt, you can come up with an answer that's just kind of self-indulgent. So you've got what? I don't know, ChatGPT giving an answer, and then Proximity or whatever coming in and saying, oh, ChatGPT, that's rubbish.
So we often use 2 different LLMs to compete before we give the customer the final answer.
Right.
And that's because we want to make sure that they're not so different from each other that you might have a risk of hallucination or just the wrong outcomes, right?
Yeah.
But as I said, human in the loop constantly now, especially when it's so new, human in the loop is important.
Right.
But also, for a lot of companies who are going through this journey, the first thing is get your hygiene right. And what is your hygiene? Your hygiene is making sure your data is stored correctly.
Right.
That you have your data in a data lake, your metadata in a data lake, and then you have your models and your protocols set up.
Right.
Right. So how do you set up your models, and how do you, because in the past we had our models in different parts of the bank, but now pulling it all together, having one common protocol, having a common language, and then having a common philosophy around how you guard it. And now also increasingly having the end-to-end data governance is important. When your data is created to where it's perched, how and who is in charge along the way of that part, which part of the data is important. So there's a lot to think about, but it all begins and ends with the data.
Yeah.
And how you store it, how then you create models, and when the models work or don't work, how do you have that feedback loop? Then when you bring in LLMs, how do you make sure that your customer data, if you're using the compute of the LLMs, how it's perched as well, so it doesn't go back to the LLM. and then having that constant feedback loop, both from your customers and from your employees.
That's a really great roadmap for lots of companies, because certainly what we hear at Fortune is that companies are struggling to get beyond the kind of proof of concept where they sort of have a little siloed experimental use of AI to see what happens, to then moving to this more siloed approach that you described where, okay, each of my different business units or verticals are experimenting with AI in a different way. But what you're describing is the kind of holy grail of this stuff, which is a much more holistic, bank-wide incorporation, using it not just for customers, but for employees as well. I'm curious, organizationally, what does that mean for how you structure the bank? I mean, I spent a fair amount of time with the folks at DBS last year, and I remember being very impressed by how large the data analytics and kind of digital team is. But you've restructured the whole organization to make sure that it's much more kind of unified in the way that you think about AI.
What I did as the new CEO was I created a COO function, a Chief Operating Office, but really that's like a chief of staff, a big group that oversees the end-to-end.
Right.
They must be product, segment, and business agnostic.
Right.
But they make sure that end-to-end were good. So my data and transformation people sit there.
Yeah.
Because as we transform the bank, it's end-to-end. It's not just product, customer-facing. It's also operations, it's technology, it's data. The transformation must be holistic and end-to-end. And it's also legal and controls and governance, right? Because your data security must work. As a regulated entity like a big bank, you need to abide by all your different regulators and the different regimes you sit in. So you're making sure the governance framework works, making sure the customer experience is good, the pricing is correct. So whilst business is very much on that front, it's also learnings from different parts of business. So retail and consumer might do something with their chatbot, and then SME and corporate might do something with their chatbot, but actually they should learn from each other and optimize and see how the generative AI can help our chatbots be stronger and better and more intuitive in the answers from the first go, from the get-go. And we've always said first call resolution is important. So both the consumer and the corporate bank now are focused on getting that first call resolved, hopefully entirely by a bot. Right? Then you release a lot of capacity. Now what do we do with this capacity? So HR comes in, and today, a lot of HR training is done by a bot. Yesterday, Kiet Hao, our minister, was at our launch when we launched executive coaching done by a digitized version of Marshall Goldsmith. Now, Marshall Goldsmith is a world-renowned executive coach, and not everyone can afford him, but an AI or generative AI version of him can be done for all and sundry. And that's exactly what we've done. We've digitized the generative AI of an executive coach, and we've enabled everyone. Every one of our staff now has this coach in the palm of his or her hand to say, listen, my job has been taken over by AI. What do you think I can, give me some suggestions on what I can do for my next gig, right? Or my next role, and what do I need to learn to get into that role. I'm interested in wealth management. I'm interested in SME banking, whatever it is. Help me through this journey. And it does that. It gives you answers. It helps with, it's your active personalized AI coach, right? Executive coach, which I think is great. We launched it yesterday.
Just yesterday. So this is important for you, though, because you're basically telling people you should embrace the turbulence and uncertainty.
Don't be scared of it. Face it head on.
Yeah.
Face it head on, and I think Singapore's all in on AI, generative AI, and DBS is all in. We see profound changes coming, and we're excited by the changes, and I think it will make us so much more productive and effective. In fact, in our town hall that we did for the leaders, we said this is going to make you a superhuman banker or a superhero banker because you can literally do everything really quickly. I remember going to a client pitch, quite unprepared, and chatting. As the client was talking to me, I had my phone under the table, and I was like, "Oops, the deal has changed, and now they want to do this instead of that. Help me think of questions to ask him." So they came up, blah, 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 4 questions to ask the client, and I kind of read off, and I said, have you thought about this for your business or that for your business? And the client said, wow, Su Shan, you know my business so well. So I cheated.
But is
The
that
fact is
cheating?
we can all cheat now.
Is that cheating? I mean, it's a good question, right? I mean, the tools are there.
The tools are there, and you're dumb not to use it,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, we tell everyone, use it, but it doesn't replace the human interaction and the human conversation. So the client still wants to have that face-to-face, that eye-to-eye.
Yeah.
And you want to read the body language of the promoters or their family members or their CFO, CEO, chairman, etc. You still need a human to bring the deal across the line.
Yeah.
But a lot of the grunt work, the data crunching, the pitch book making, the capital markets optimization, etc., all that can be automated and done by a bot. Then you just go in and you try and seal the deal, or you try and get the deal across the line.
So this is fascinating to me, and we've had a lot of discussions over the last 2 days about the idea of agentic AI, moving from AI that has to get specific instructions and prompts for every little thing to AI that can exercise some form of judgment.
Exactly.
That it can. And I was watching a speech by Yuval Noah Harari the other day, and he was making the point that financial services is the cutting edge of this agentic stuff because everything is information based. It's all there's all data, so it's very susceptible to being completely overtaken by the technology. And he raised the question: how willing are we to let this agentic stuff go in financial services? Are we willing to say, hey, an AI can open a bank account? Hey, we're going to let the AI decide how to invest the assets in that bank account. Does it go in the stock market? What does the portfolio look like? Does it invest in a new business?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Are you thinking through those kinds of questions?
All
Because
the time.
customers may come to you and want them.
I think we're thinking about it, as I said, end to end. First of all, is the point of entry, right? Does the customer look for you through their own agent?
Right.
Do they ask their personalized agent, hey, find me the best bank for SME banking, find me the best bank for wealth management, find me the best bank for da, right? So the point of entry could be agent-based.
I see.
And if that's the case, how are you positioning yourself? In the past, even now, we use search optimization, SEO, etc. In the future, do you move that to make sure that you are positioned in the agentic space so that that all your potential prospects or clients, LLMs or agents can still get to you? Or will there be then, paid advertising again in the LLM space? Who knows? But that's happening as we speak. So I've told my team, be prepared for a world where the customers come through us through their agents.
Right.
And then it's agent to agent communicating with each other.
Right.
And making sure that we're at the forefront of this. So that's happening. And then also you've got the whole new digital asset ecosystem, which is not today's topic, but that's also happening. The world of tokenization and smart contracts and stable coins, etc. That whole ecosystem is also taking place. So there's a lot of very exciting, big changes happening in our world, especially in the financial industry. And as I said, you have to embrace it to stay ahead. But you also have to have a mindset where we're pioneers, we're all new to this, so we're going to have to do some experiments in sandboxes. We're going to have to tolerate some errors and some mistakes, learn from that. So the key thing is, I told my staff, when you try something, please share your experience, what worked, what didn't work, especially what didn't work,
Right.
so that you can save some other people time
Right.
and effort and mistakes. But really, this fact that you brainstorm together. We have a lot of brainstorming together as a leadership team. And then our job as a leadership team is to prioritize what to roll out first.
Right.
Prioritize what's important, what moves the needle, what keeps us ahead, and then saying no to some other things that may not move the needle too much.
I mean, if you were to sort of single out the 1 or 2 biggest areas where you see the capacity to really move the needle, what would they be for you?
So firstly, it's really on service and operations. That can really move them, and it already is. As I said, in the SME side, 90% of our service calls can be done by generative AI. That think about how much that releases a lot of capacity, right?
Right.
And now I can move a lot of our service staff into becoming relationship managers. Because I have so many SMEs, they don't have relationship managers.
Right.
Now we can actually tag them.
Right.
They can actually own customers and look after them,
Right.
human to human.
You
so
can do a
you
lot more.
really bring that level of relationship up from, can I check if my payment's been done? That a bot can do to, hey, how are you thinking about supply chains in an era of tariffs?
Right.
How can we help you?
Right.
Right. So you're really going higher level, so to speak. So I'm excited about the changes in people's careers. That's why we said, even AI for career coaching is important. And I'm excited about how we can reshape the workforce for the future.
This has just been a tour de force, Su Shan. I cannot think of a better speaker to kind of wrap up our two-day event here. We've all been brainstorming just in the way that you've been brainstorming at the bank. Very inspiring to see the kind of enthusiastic, forceful way that you are trying to embrace this new technology at DBS, and we will watch your progress with great interest. Please thank Su Shan Tan for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that was a tour de force. Really appreciate Su Shan's remarks. That brings us to the end of Fortune's Brainstorm AI Singapore for 2025. Thank you for staying with us right till the end here. On behalf of Fortune, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to all of you who made these 2 days possible, starting with our partners, Accenture and Ant International. Thank them for their support and partnership. Thank you to our incredible speakers and moderators who came from around the world to share their time, insights, and visions for the future of AI. And to my fellow co-chairs, Andrew Nuska, Isha Khanna, and Jeremy Kahn, thank you for your leadership and for guiding us through these bold, complex, and exciting conversations. And most of all, thank you, all of you, our audience, for showing up with curiosity and candor. We hope you're leaving with new connections, changed perspectives, and a sharper sense of what comes next. Speaking of what's next, please do save the date for our upcoming events. We'll gather for the Fortune Innovation Forum in Kuala Lumpur on November 17th and 18th. And we'll be in San Francisco for Brainstorm AI on December 8th and 9th. We hope to see you there or at another Fortune event very soon. Thanks very much, everyone, and enjoy your evening.